And this is Jenn Gray, and welcome to Be Genuine Podcast. It is my heart that by the end of this episode, you believe that your story matters and that your authenticity is your superpower.
Welcome to the stage, Jenn Gray.
Oh, hold that thought. All right, friends, have you ever moved? You guys know how crazy, insanely stressful that can be. And I have a podcast partner that absolutely is a solution to this problem. If you are moving anywhere near the Atlanta area, you guys have got to call these guys. There is a company that genuinely makes the process as stress-free as possible. Atlanta Pack and Load boasts nearly 30 years of experience providing customized packing, moving, and storage solutions. They are fully licensed, fully insured, Better Business Bureau accredited, and the trusted moving partner for realtors all over Georgia. Call today for a free quote and make sure you let them know that you heard them right here on Be Genuine Podcast. 770-779-8959 or find them online. All of their info will be in the show notes. Move the smart way. Move the pack and load way. Hey, friends. I am super excited for today's episode. And I have a great friend, new friend, really, that I've known through some networking meetings. But I get to meet a lot of people. And when you just hear somebody, you're like, man, like they, first of all, know their stuff. But what you're going to learn too is his humility and his generosity and just the wisdom that he gives and just how he cares about people is another level. So I'm super excited to have Neil French. He's a dedicated CrossFit coach, former U.S. Army soldier who discovered a passion for optimizing health through movement, mindset, nutrition, and recovery. Drawing from military discipline and CrossFit principles, Neil empowers individuals to achieve peak performance and holistic well-being. Neil, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Jen. Yes, I am very humble. No, I'm just kidding. That's some fun for you. But yeah, that was a good little synopsis of what I do. I appreciate you having me on. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I'm super excited. And so today I want people to hear your journey. I want them to see how you got here, right? You've had military experience, but not everyone military experience ends up being a coach like you are. And so what pieces of your life did you use and did you build to now what you're doing and how you're serving people? So start wherever you want to. And we joked about this, even before this call, like this is your floor. And he is, again, I said he's humble. And so I want you to share as much detail as you would want to, because I think then that those vulnerabilities cause people to really relate to you. And so I'm excited for people to be able to intersect their world with your journey. So go for it.
All right. I'm going to start pretty young then, in the sense that I think we can all, or a lot of us can relate to growing up playing sports and kind of just eating whatever your parents feed you, right? Like whether it's Pop-Tarts or cereal, or maybe you get a hearty breakfast or hearty breakfast or a hearty dinner every now and then. But everyone's busy. And even, 20, 30 years ago, we knew much less about what we know about nutrition now. And we had to realize we had a lot of things wrong, which we may be saying the same thing in 30 years from now, but hey, that's evolution. And so, you kind of just ate whatever your parents gave you, and that's kind of what you got used to, especially if you grew up in different areas of the country. It's going to be different things down here in the South. That's not where I grew up, but now I'm in the South, and fried food is pretty darn common.
Everything.
And so, yeah, and it's delicious, but it's what you know. And so it's hard to break out of those. I grew up in Southern California. And so, it's great, right? Whether I can't deny it. The weather's phenomenal almost all the time. And typically people are pretty nice. And it's just that SoCal lifestyle. So I had a great childhood, but I did just eat whatever, whenever I wanted, because I was very active. And all through being a kid and then growing up in high school, I played sports as well. And I thought I was healthy. Because I wasn't overweight and I felt okay, right? Like I didn't really have a good metric to balance that with, or the knowledge to say otherwise. And so then you move to college and I start to learn a little bit more, because I get into competing in CrossFit relatively competitively. It would get a lot more competitive later on, but just kind of the beginnings of it, that. And I also did MMA, and I learned that how you treat your body, what you put into it, plays a huge factor in what you get out of it. And so I would starting off just learning about protein. So I'm like, okay, so I'm going to start incorporating more protein in my diet. And then I learn about carbohydrates as being, our number one fuel source. And this is true. But what I was not doing, and that I learned later, is vegetables are pretty important for many reasons, but also sleep is incredibly important. And that is something that I didn't learn until even just like 5 years ago. So because of that, through MMA, through CrossFit, through the Army, I suffered a lot of injuries. Like I would say in my 20s, so those 10 years of my life, I was injured for about 6 of them.
Oh, wow.
Not in a row, but like on and off. And it was just so debilitating because I've always been like a go-getter type guy, right? Like I'm going to push through the pain. My mind, even though my body is relatively strong, my mind's always been stronger. Like I would just push through, like I'll be fine. It's okay. Right? I had that mindset. I think that's probably partly because of my dad, he's also military, and so him pushing into me that kind of mindset, and then just growing up being physical as a boy should, as a eventual man should, but it just got drilled into me. So I would always push past, and I kept on getting injured. It wasn't until I joined the Army Warrior Fitness team in 2019 that I talked to a sleep specialist, because I had heard before, like, oh, you should sleep 8 hours. And I was like, yeah, I tried that. Now I only tried it for like 2 or 3 days. And I was like, I didn't notice the difference.
Minor
Jen,
details.
it was so bad. I got to the point, and it's not great to say this, but I mean, it is what it is. I was falling asleep at the wheel. Like I was not prioritizing my sleep at all because I had tried the air quotes for people who are listening. I had tried the 8 hours of sleep for, like I said, 2 to 3 days in a row, and it didn't make a difference. So I was like, clearly that's just me. I'm just somebody who is going to be tired often. So like
Or
I
an
was falling.
exception to the rule, right? We like to find those, right? We're like, clearly this textbook is written for everybody but me,
Yeah. I'm special. I'm the different one. Yeah. We always want to be the man on fire of our own story. There's a reference to the comedian, but anyways, so I thought I was different. And then her name's Allison Brager. She was on the team with me, really smart neuroscientist. And I was like, well, clearly this person has to know what she's talking about. So she's like, you got to do it like it 2 to 3 weeks minimum, and you might see a difference. Jen, I'm telling you, I went from falling asleep at the wheel and getting injured all the time and just being tired constantly to that is the only thing I changed. And I almost eliminated all my injuries, like maybe like minor things here and there, but no longer had back issues and wasn't falling asleep at the wheel. Thankfully, I had more energy. Imagine that you sleep more and you have more energy, but I have more energy, and it literally changed my life. Something so small like that. I mean, it's a huge change, but it seems so small and so simple.
Right. You think it's no big deal, right? Because it seems so small. But that's why one of my favorite books is The Slight Edge. And because that's really what happens. It's those little bitty changes that ultimately get us to our most healed state, right? For you, it was like, I need energy and I probably don't need to fall asleep at the wheel. And you can think of 100 other things it can be, because there's no way the sleep is really affecting it. When the reality is, it was just that slight change that, of course, it's crazy what all it affects.
And it was during a time, so it's much less now, but especially in the Army, like you are seen as like harder, right? Like a harder, tougher person if you can sleep less and do more, right? We've got away from that, thankfully. It's a work in progress, but we're definitely on the better edge of it now. But it was still during that time. And so I was like, no, I'm just going to push through. I want to mention too, something that, and because I've talked to a lot of people trying to educate myself on specifically my back issues. And I got to a point where I was stretching 2 times a week, 1 hour a day, and then the rest of the week, 20 minutes a day. Because I heard that stretching, because you have tight muscles. Like I was dedicated to fixing this. I went to PT. I did all that stuff. And literally just sleeping more was the difference. And I think that brings, like, the lesson there is you don't know what you don't know.
100%.
Right.
Yep.
And so now I try to enter every room with a mindset. Is one of my favorite quotes is everybody is my superior in something, and in that I learn of them. And
I
so
love that.
when I heard that, I was like, that is gold, man.
That is so gold. That's so true. So good.
Yeah, because it keeps you in a posture of always learning, and a humility posture as well. Like everyone's going to be better at me and something. And you know what? It's 100% true.
But totally. Like, and that's the whole, like, success leaves clues was that for me. And even that, like, so I used to not read books like at all, which now my kids don't even understand that because I read all the time. But I was like, no, like, I don't need to do that, you know? But again, it's the whole knowing that there is so much to know. There's so much to learn. There's so much wisdom to be gained if we're searching for it, right? If we're open to it. But if we, in our insecurities, ultimately come into a room and expecting to be the most interesting and expecting to be the expert, we miss out on so many different layers of life of actually getting to learn what we don't know, we don't know. And I think that's so huge.
You're doing a huge disservice to yourself if you go in thinking you're the smartest. Like it's, yeah, absolutely.
Totally.
So then once I was on the fitness team, because I'm almost done with my story here, but I want
Oh, you're good. No, right.
forget. So on the fitness team, I made those changes, saw incredible progress. And then I decided I had a very fortunate opportunity to spend time, or I had a decent amount of off time. And so I've always been somebody that's trying to become the best version of myself. And I was like, okay, I'm doing the fitness thing. Me doing an extra workout during this 4-hour break is not going to be beneficial, right? Because recovery is incredibly important. And we can definitely get into that. That's why it's one of our 4 pillars. But I was like, what can I use this time for besides just doom scrolling on Instagram or watching YouTube? YouTube is definitely my thing. I watched a lot of YouTube or movies. I love movies. But, you know, I understand that that's a waste of time. And one of the things that I would tell people is that if you want to be really good at something, or no, we think that it takes this huge effort to be an expert at something. And it does in a sense, but if you just spend 10 to 20 minutes a day doing something consistently, you do that every single day. Like you had mentioned on your previous podcast, like I wasn't a podcaster, and then guess what? I just started doing it, right? And then now you're like, oh, it's you know, it's natural, and you can come across, you know, like you've been doing it for a while because you have, but you put the reps in, right? And I think that's a lesson there too, is do something consistently 10 to 20 minutes a day, and you have no idea how you know how much progress you can make in a year or even 2 or 3 years if you do that every single day. Like think about learning a language, right? Like if you did even just 10 minutes a day, you're not going to see a difference in 2 weeks, but in 2 years you're going to be almost fluent in that language.
100%.
And it's just 10 minutes a day, but it's consistency, and that's the tough part. And so anyways, that's me going on a tangent. But I love the little lessons. I love sharing the bits of knowledge that I've gained with other people. If they're willing to receive it, I'm willing to give it. I love sharing knowledge with people. So that's those 2 things that I shared are like some of my favorite lessons.
Yes. So good. Okay. So then fast forward.
Yes.
to
Yes. So
how you
on the
get to
team,
where you are.
yes. So that's why I use that time to become more intelligent with nutrition, because I was like, clearly, if I don't know, if I didn't know sleep was important, like there's a lot more I don't know, right? And that goes back to the you don't know what you don't know. So I wanted to learn some things that I don't know and hopefully know them. And so I got my nutrition certification with Precision Nutrition, and that was an incredible course. Taught me a lot. Taught you more than just the the molecular biology. Is going into coaching and habit change. And then from there I got my certified strength and conditioning specialist from the NSCA, and that's when it gets into does go into nutrition, but it also goes into biomechanics. So how our different levers, right, our arms and our legs, and the muscles that are on them, and how they operate in order to best exert force. And it talks about recovery and just goes way into that. And that would take hours and hours to dive into all I learned there. But it was incredibly useful when it comes to exercise programming. That's where now moving on. So Army, got out of that. Or I joined the reserves instead. So I was active for 7 years, and then I joined the reserves, and now I'm in the reserves currently. But I became a personal trainer. This is after I had my CrossFit experience, gave talks and whatnot to the Army. So I did what talks and whatnot. I became kind of the go-to guy for anything fitness, nutrition related, and that's just who I always was in whatever platoon or unit that I was with. And I wore that hat proudly. I loved being that. Like I said, I love being able to share things with people if they're willing to learn. And so I held that role. But after I got out of the Army, active duty, I became a personal trainer. And this is my first time doing actual personal training. I had done like coaching classes and whatnot and doing seminars, but first time personal training. And I learned a lot there. I learned a lot. Some of the key lessons that I learned is how there's a gap in health and fitness. And what I mean by that is you go to a nutritionist or a dietitian in order to fix your diet. Maybe you have whatever, you have some kind of ailment or you know you need to get healthier. So you go to a nutritionist or dietitian to fix that. I know that I should exercise. So you go to a personal trainer to fix that, so to speak. Or you are having trouble sleeping, so you go to a sleep specialist to fix that. Or you go to a mindset coach if you know that you need your mindset right. Like these are all important things. And I saw that there was the gap there, right? So like, why is someone having to go 4 different places to learn about and, fix, for lack of a better word, their health situation? And so that's why I created Proven Health, because I tackle all 4 of those things, because your health is not just one of those things. It's like 4 legs to a table, right? If you even just don't have one of those things, your table's not going to stand right. Your table being your life and your health.
Yeah.
And so I created a program. It took me a long time, but a lot of hours put in. Didn't realize what I was getting into, but I wanted to share what I learned so much and not have people to go to 4 different places to learn it all. And so that's why I created Proven Health.
Okay, that's incredible. So many things I want to dive through. So first of all, what I love about your story is, again, you took a moment to look at yourself in the mirror. I was just talking to someone else about this, about how we can like be unhealthy. Like for you, you're having all these different ailments, and some people have these different ailments, or let's say just even like weight loss. And they're like, okay, clearly I need to go and work out. Well, yes. And, if we just work out and we're not fixing the nutrition part of things, then we're never going to get to our desired results. But if we get so fixated on what we think is the problem, instead of looking at our body in this holistic way and saying, what does my body need to perform at its maximum function, right? If anybody has ever gone through a fitness journey, of course you have a weight loss goal, right? There's always this number or this feeling or this pant size that's your goal. But I think it's even deeper than that. The reason you even get to the point that you care about that number is because you don't like the way that you feel. And there's always this trigger of, I don't like this. I've got to fix this. I've got to do whatever. So talk me through, I love the pillars of your system. And so how did you come to it's movement, mindset, nutrition, and recovery?
That's right. Yeah. Because I have a very smart wife. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not kidding. She's brilliant and wonderful in all the ways and beautiful. But it was not just that. We talked together. I want to get back real quick to a point you said. So you said, yes, going to, starting exercise is important, right? But if that is the only thing you're changing, which is what you said, think about what happens if you do get injured, right? What happens if, and this doesn't even have to be at the gym. This could be an accident, right? Like, God forbid, a car accident, or maybe you just fall off a short ledge and you mess up your ankle. Like, okay, you've taken away your one thing that was making you, not gain weight. Like, what are you going to do now? Right. So if you don't have all the other parts in working order, like it's going to be really tough. When we had our daughter, she's 20 months old now. But when we first had her, I had 4 months, maybe 4 to 6 months, where I was helping Tony, because she had a C-section. We had to do a C-section. So I was helping her recover. I was helping her get back into herself. If for those who have had kids, you understand what the 4th trimester is. It's 100% a thing, right? It was kind of like the 4th and 5th trimester, it felt like. But still, I was dedicated to making sure that she was feeling whole again, that she was feeling good and supported. So I was working out. I think in the 4-month period, I worked out 10 times, maybe. If my diet was crap during that time and I wasn't prioritizing recovery and I didn't have a positive mindset about it, my health would have gone to crap, right? Like, but because I know how to eat, I've educated myself, and I had all that part solid. I could take time off the gym and still be okay. Coming back was a little rough, back to exercise. But I was able to bounce back pretty quickly because my body's like, okay, I remember this. We've done this for 15 years. And so that's another reason that you don't want to just rely on one leg of the table, so to speak.
That's so good. Okay. So for me, mindset, of course, I'm big time on mindset. So I love that.
Love it.
I mean,
Yes.
again, to me, if you're not coachable and hungry in anything, then you're never going to make the change. But all of that shifts to a mindset of recognizing, even like you said, like growing up, right? Our parents didn't know what they didn't know. I feel like that should be the theme of this whole conversation is you don't know what you don't know. Because, and I saw a meme recently and it showed like a Gatorade bottle and it was like a Gatorade from like the 80s and versus a Gatorade from right now. And it was like, just because you drank this as a kid does not mean it's the same drink that our kids are drinking now. And it showed
That's a
the
great point.
ingredient list, right? It was like 3 ingredients in Gatorade, like when I was a little kid back in the golden age or, old age, whatever. But then now it's like this whole huge list. But if we in our mindset think I survived that, or oh, I didn't turn out so bad because of that, or all of that, we have to recognize that I didn't know what I didn't know then. But if I care enough to learn about it now, then I also should care enough to make the shifts now. And also recognizing that, things are different. So what if someone's brand new right here and they're like, okay, it's end of March 2025. I already killed my New Year's resolutions by January 19th. Everything seemed overwhelming. Maybe they tried to cut out everything and only eat meat. I don't know what they did. How would you encourage somebody just in that one area in nutrition? What are some key things that they can start to notice that maybe that, again, they can't unsee what they've seen now? So what would you advise someone? All right, friends, we still have a lot of goodness to dive into, but really quick, I want to interrupt our convo to let you guys know about our next podcast partner. It's Alpha and Omega Automotive. If you are anywhere near Atlanta, this is another great find. As a single mom, one of my biggest needs is to make sure I have an auto repair shop I can trust. And these guys are your first and last stop for automotive repair, standing for quality, honesty, and integrity. With over 25 years in business, their family-owned business offers trusted service at 2 convenient locations. Whether you need routine maintenance or major repairs, they've built a reputation for delivering reliable professional service. Come see why customers rely on them for all of their automotive needs, because with Alpha and Omega, you are always treated like family.
Such a good question. So mindset is key. Yes. Like if you're one thing that you touched on earlier, and I really will answer your question this time, is you talked about, trying to get into a certain weight or a, like pant size, right? And you talk about confidence going into what your whole theme is. It's so important because you're not feeling like the authentic you. You're not feeling like the genuine you, right? You're looking in the mirror and you're like, something's off. This isn't me, right? You don't feel comfortable in your own skin. That can be such a debilitating, uncomfortable feeling. So yeah, that can really mess with your mindset. And now to answer your question, the thing I would do first is give yourself grace. It's when you try to start a New Year's resolution, right? Like there's always going to be that new year and everyone's wanted like, oh, this is going to be the new thing. If it doesn't work right away, that doesn't mean that it's too late. Oh my goodness, you still have so many months left in the year, right? So there's never going to be a perfect time to start unless it's right now. Actually, the perfect time to start was 2 years ago, but the second best time to start is right now. And so just getting started with, or how do we get started, right? Like what's a practical tip? Find something that is easy and simple that you can do that is going to bring you towards your goal. For example, if you want to lose weight, right? A easy, simple thing for most people. Again, this is going to be different for everybody. Everyone's different. And that's why the cookie cutter diets and whatnot don't work, is because we're so unique to ourselves and our routine, our hormone levels, our food sensitivities. There's so much uniqueness within us that we need to tailor it to the specific person. But there are some general principles that remain true. And that is incorporating some kind of consistent protein in your diet. Now, the general recommendation, and experts agree, it's a really easy number to memorize, and experts across the field agree with this, and that is that a gram of protein per pound of body weight is like a general recommendation for how much protein you should have throughout the day. Now, some people, if this is your first time hearing it, you're like, that's a lot of protein. Kind of, but if you're getting it in a lean quality meat, it goes a little bit quicker. Also, you can use shakes to help that out. But I digress. Yeah. A simple thing you could take away is I'm going to eat more protein than I did yesterday. Find something that you can do consistently. Maybe you're 150 pounds, you want to be 130 pounds, and you're like, yeah, 150 grams protein is just not happening. Start with 50, but do it every day and pay attention to it. Right? That could be something that's easy and simple. You can get 50 grams of protein in a palm and a half of ground turkey or chicken, right? Like it's definitely doable. You start there and then you build from there. Another one, if you don't want to focus on food wise, we can go to sleep, right? Is there a time? Not is there. What is the time that I can consistently go to bed and wake up every day? Because if you change nothing else with your sleep, quantity is definitely important, but quality is just as, if not sometimes more important. And the best way to get quality sleep is to set your circadian rhythm in a routine. Your body really, really enjoys routine. So going to sleep and waking up at the same time every day or close to it as possible is going to be a great way to increase the quality of your sleep. So you have greater sleep efficiency.
I love that. So good. Okay. So the one that I'm the most interested in, because I don't think I've been the best in this, so I would love your insight, is the recovery, right? My history was when I decided in January, I went on a fitness journey in 2018. And honestly, it was like, I did that. I checked the box off and I kind of maintained it by accident for about 6 years until last year and everything shifted. When you're not intentional, you can't expect that, to happen. And so I'm in a journey now of getting even healthier than I've ever been in my life. But rewind, I was doing the gym. I was like, I'm going to do hard things. I'm going to wake up every single day, 5 a.m. and do the gym 7 days a week. And then I hear something about recovery, and I've done my own research on recovery. And so what are your thoughts? Like the balance? And clearly it's a pillar because you've included it in one of your 4, but what are some misunderstandings about recovery and the actual importance it is in our health?
So I'm going to go with the last question that you asked is, what are the misunderstandings? And that is that if something is a trend, a recovery trend, I'm going to go with ice baths, right? Because that's the biggest one right now.
Yep.
Something is a recovery trend. It doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. And I don't mean to be negative with that. What I mean is, again, everyone's different. I hate that. I would love if I could say, yes, this is the exact way you do it. Every time, like, just follow this perfect program and you're going to get the exact results. That would be so much easier, right? But it's just not the case. It very much so depends on the person. The example with ice baths, and then we'll go ice baths and sauna. So both have shown to be great for recovery. And we're talking about overall muscle recovery and how you're able to get back to it the next day, right? But if you put your body in that shock of like the ice bath, right? And you're doing 2 things. So yes, you're lowering the inflammation in your body and you'll be able to be recovered quicker and be able to get back to, whatever exercise that you're doing with, less pain, less soreness. But you're also blunting the hypertrophy impact, meaning if you're trying to build muscle, you're blunting that impact and it's slowing it down. So you're not going to build as much as if you would not doing that, because that is what builds a muscle. Is it gets inflamed and then the muscle tissue breaks apart, right? Or is broken apart, and then it builds it back together stronger than before. So you're slowing down that process. It's almost as if you have cars on a freeway, right? And then you have incoming traffic, and then that traffic jam is just slow. It's still going to happen, but it's going to be much slower. So that's the first thing. The other thing is, if doing that puts your body in a state of shock. And now this is even more so true for women. It happens at like if you're doing like the same temperature as for a male and a female, the females are going to get less benefit from it because they don't require as cold of a temperature or as much of a shock to their body to get the benefits. And it could end up doing the negative. It could put your body in a huge stress response and release certain hormones that stop you from recovering. So again, this is very individualized. So I myself, not a huge fan of ice baths. That's me. Yeah. If it works for somebody, if they're like, man, I don't know what he's talking about, like it's great for me, then awesome. Like, rock on, dude. You do it. Like, do your ice baths and feel the recovery from it. Sauna works great for me and my wife. We feel relaxed during it. After we get done, we have like a feeling, right? That's recovery. That's what your body needs in order to see the best results from the work you're putting in. So that's a little misnomer that sometimes people get for like a recovery tool. But there's all kinds of recovery tools out there, right? Like there's also massages, there's a massage gun or the foam roller. If you're getting a massage and you're uncomfortable the whole time, it might not be the best thing for recovery. Sorry. I know massages are like the quintessential recovery thing and it has a lot of benefits and I myself really enjoy them.
Mhm.
But if you're stressed the whole time or you're uncomfortable, you're probably not getting out of it what you want.
Interesting. Okay, so that's fascinating. So when I thought recovery, I'm thinking the time in between workouts. So here's what I love. I love that it's like this is what the definition is, right? You're trying to again let your muscles heal so they can grow because then you're trying to get to the results that you're wanting to do. And how can you best come alongside the work you're putting in the gym or at home and then helping get your thing. But here's my favorite part of what you said and all of this woven theme through all of this is if you're out there reading all the things online, all the little trends that are happening, and you don't see the results, like you're not the problem. That just might not be your solution. Right.
Yes.
And so just to, to get overwhelmed now, like you said, if it's sleep and you've tried it for 2 nights and you're like, it just didn't work for me. Okay. Maybe that's it. That's a different story. But to actually give yourself the grace, I think that was the best thing that you said is, and also be really honest with yourself. Okay. Have I tried this? Is it, even thinking about that, like I'm thinking honestly in my world, I work out every day and I literally go from the workout home and I just start my day. Like I have no recovery and any built into anything that I'm doing other than the sleep that I'm getting the night after, that I work out. And so I'm like, oh, think in my head. I didn't even like prioritize that. Or another thought, and I want you to speak into it. So at my gym, they have like hydro massage and massage chairs and all of that. Well, sometimes I'll go on like a Saturday and I almost feel like it's a cheat day. I'm like, but now thinking, I'm like, oh, my poor body. Really? This isn't like a cheat. This isn't like this icing on the cake. It's actually a pivotal part of the whole journey. And it actually needs to be prioritized, whether it's massage or cold bath or sauna or whatever other form of recovery. So I just want to say, like, for me, that was my aha today was, okay, I need to rethink how I think of this like extra recovery as an actual big part of what we do. So.
100% is, Jen. If you're going, here's the other part to it, and it really does have so many layers. So like if you're going into that day and you're like, oh, this is going to be my recovery day, awesome. But during that, you're stressing yourself out thinking about work and thinking about how you're not working out and you're just like kind of tossing and turning the whole time. That's not recovery. Sometimes the best recovery for people. Now, this is, we're busy, so it's not an often thing or an everybody thing, but sometimes the best recovery can be sitting down watching TV. As long as it's not right before you go to bed and you're getting blue light, in your eyes.
We'll
But
ask
like
for
that,
advice. Yeah.
yeah, but that can literally be a better recovery than getting a massage or taking an ice bath or going into the sauna. It's so individualized, but your body needs time to regulate all its hormones that it's building up and breaking down, right? Your metabolism going, it needs time to relax just as much as it needs to be able to go, to the end of your heart rate, right? Because if you think about like where we came from, right? The hunter gatherer times where we would hunt for our food and then, hunt, kill, get whatever, bring it back to the tribe. And then, oh, I got a little thumbs up
I know,
there.
right?
bring it back to the tribe. And then you're relaxing and you're with family. Your body's releasing oxytocin, dopamine, serotonin. It's giving all those pleasure chemicals that are allowing you to relax, right? And so for you, I was thinking about specifically, you're probably one of your most relaxing times. Now, I'm sure your kids can get crazy just like everybody else's, but that can be a relaxing time for you, just spending time with your kids, right? You're getting the oxytocin of, hugging them, feeling them, and just like getting that comfort. They're making certain milestone achievements. Maybe they got to climb something they weren't before, or whatever it may be, and then that's giving you the dopamine response as well from just watching them do it. Like that is going to be the best recovery for some people, is just relaxing and spending time with their kids. And not to mention, it's improving another thumbs up, sorry, on the screen. It's a thumbs up for what's going on, and it's distracting me. But my point being that recovery is different for everybody, but that can be a best way to recover for
I
some
love
people.
that. I love that. So instead, it's thinking what gets you to that state of recovery, just like the word says. Like, what is giving
Relaxation.
you at a relaxation and peace, and so your body can heal what you've just hopefully shredded up. Like you've torn it up.
Yeah.
But then beginning to heal that, and no, I love that. That's definitely something that I'm gonna take hold of and figure out what that looks like for me. And I love that you said that it could be different daily, right? It's different things. Like, I know when the sun is out, if I am getting sunshine on my skin and, just letting myself be creative, or just letting myself be there, I put like the Calm app on or something where there's like a
Yeah.
meditation. And so I can just really, really chill and relax. I'm thinking that probably for me is some of the best recovery, but I wasn't even thinking about it being that,
That's
I just,
beautiful.
yeah. So,
Yeah. So going even you taking a step further, because you mentioned sunshine, and for anybody, any of your listeners that don't already know this, if you're not getting 10 to 20 minutes in the sun a day, you should be taking vitamin D3 supplement, because your body is not getting enough of that nutrients. And that alone, now there's so many factors, right? But that alone could be bringing down your energy levels. Just that one thing. So getting out in the sun, the best thing we can do, and how realistic this is different for everybody, right? Just like the theme of this, right?
okay,
Everyone's
yep.
different. But the best thing you can do is take off your shoes, take off your socks, go hang out in some grass and feel the sunshine on your face. Maybe do you don't have to do exercise. That can be completely relaxing. Or you can use that as like, man, maybe I'm going to do some stretching here. I'm going to do 10 squats, or I'm going to do 10 push-ups and walk around with my kids. I'm going to play with my kids, but barefoot in the sun. That is, your body is craving for that, craving for that if you don't do it normally.
Yeah. That's so, so good. Okay, so clearly you are located right in my backyard, right here, right outside of Atlanta, Georgia.
I'm not living in her backyard, people. I'm just in the same area.
I figured, yeah, figuratively. But for if someone's listening and they're like, man, I would love to have that in my world. Like, I love the holistic side of it. I love that it's grace filled. I love that it's all about like personalized to me and where I'm at and what my world looks like. What's the best person? What makes a good fit for you as a coach? Kind of some things that you're like, hey, if this is your world, I may be a good fit to be able to come alongside. And then also answer, how does that work? Is it Zoom? Do you have to be located here? Like, what does it look like to be a part of your world, and what would make a good client?
Yeah, so I'm going to go broad and then get narrow. Broad, somebody who wants to learn. I talked earlier, I love sharing my knowledge with people who are ready to receive it. If you're at a point where you're like, man, I've put my health on the back burner, I need to make some changes, but I don't know where to start. Or maybe I just need somebody along with me to keep me accountable and guide me through the steps of what this looks like. That's what I'm looking for more than anything. Now, if we're going specifically, I work a lot with men 35 to 65. Typically somebody who's gone through their career and done decently well because they know how to set priorities, but then realize that, like I said, their health has been kind of on the back burner and they need to kick that into gear. Unfortunately, sometimes it's through a doctor's visit, or you get some blood panels back, or, something even more severe that you're like, this is an issue and I need to address it. Right. I'm here to provide you all that knowledge. And a lot of it is weight loss. I try to make it as simple as possible. Right. And this kind of, I guess, goes into the second part of like, how does it work? First thing is just reaching out, say you're interested, right? You fill out an application form. And then we have a short conversation on the phone to see if we are a good fit. And if we are, then I have you fill out a questionnaire. And the questionnaire gives me a really good understanding of where you're currently at. So we talked about how everyone is different and we all have different walks of life, right? Like different hormone levels, different sensitivities, different things that we like, dislike, routine. Like I can go on and on.
Yeah.
Right. So it gives me a very clear picture through the questions of where you're currently at. Because in order to know how to get to where you want to go, we need to know where we're starting. So once we have that, then, and I have an understanding of what your goal is, whether it's, losing 20, 30 pounds, whether it's being able to run a 5K without pain, right? Or rehab certain part of your body. Now, I'm not a physical therapist, but we can do things that help rehabilitate your body and your injuries. So whatever your main goal is, then it's like, what are 1 to 3 steps that we can take that you would say are both easy and simple to do? right? I like to do something regarding nutrition, right? So, and it looks so different for some people. Some people it's, hey, let's get this amount of protein in your diet. Or some people, the easy, simple thing would be, hey, let's drink one less soda of your 5 that you're drinking a day.
Right.
Like sometimes it really is just that small of a change, or it's like, oh, drinking 5 sodas a day, that's not healthy. Well, yeah, it is if they were drinking 7 before, you know? So it's just whatever is easy and simple for you, small change that is going to get you closer to your goal. And then we do 6-month programs. So within that 6 months, my goal is to teach you how to do this yourself. Because what I don't want to have happen is that you rely too much on me of, hey, my coach is keeping me accountable. He's telling me to do all these things and I'm just following check, 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 check. And then we get done and you're like, I don't know what to do now. I'm going to go back to what I'm used to, right? Because you've spent 35 years doing it one way. And then you do 6 months of doing it a different way. Well, 35 years is probably going to win unless you develop the tools and the strategies to keep going on that good path that you're on.
I love that. So awesome. So and I'll put all this in the show notes, but where's the best place for people to find you and connect with you and get that application if they're interested? Social media, what's best?
Yeah. So we have a website, www.proveinhealth at provenhealth.com. And so that's PROVEINHEALTH. So it's provenhealth.com. I also have a YouTube channel where I put out a weekly workout, and I'm going to be doing some talking videos as well starting next month about some of these subjects that we've been discussing. And then that's just on YouTube. You just type in Proven Health and I'll be the first one that shows up there. We have an Instagram too, Proven Health. So yeah, all the platforms,
All the places. Yeah.
but the best way is, go on the website, hit the apply now and fill out the application link. And we'll have a conversation and see if we're a good fit.
I love that. So good. Thank you so much. You are literally a wealth of info and you're so easy to talk to. Like, and I feel like I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can do this. And I think sometimes some coach and some people need that, right? Like you just said, there's different plans. There's also different coaches for different people. And so some people want a coach that's going to talk to the military. And honestly, I bet when people got on here, they expected you to have a different demeanor than you have because you are so gracious and so kind and so endearing to want to be able to help people where they are. And so for somebody looking with that, like you have all of the history of the discipline and the tactics and the certifications, but you're coming with a heart to not make this cookie cutter and to really care about the person where they are. So definitely, encourage anybody to head your way. And so as I close,
Can I leave with one more thing?
Of course.
And it's in regards to mindset. I think it's so incredibly important. So I don't want people to log off before they hear this. And that is that in order to become different version of yourself, that better version of yourself, where your goal is, you have to start by believing that you are there. Start by understanding what that person does, what that person's day looks like. And then you start doing those tasks. And by doing those tasks, you now are that person. Whether you look like you're that ideal version yet doesn't matter. You're doing the things that person does. And in your brain, you have to believe you are that person. Mindset is so important and belief is so important that is going to be a huge difference right there. So I just wanted to make sure we said that before we logged off.
That was like the final gold nugget. Like that was powerful. And so last thing I want to ask you, as I close it the same way every time, you've heard me enough. You probably know my tagline, but it's that your authenticity is your superpower. And so in you and your world and your lane, what does that mean in your world? That your authenticity is your superpower?
I think it's the theme of our talk here is that everybody is different, and you trying to emulate what this amazing athlete or somebody that you really look up to has done, their journey is not the same as yours. And so yours has to be unique and you have to do what works for you. And so it's finding the one or two things that you can do right now that are going to be, help you become the person you're going to be, not just what someone else has already accomplished.
I love that. You're so awesome. Thank you so much for your time and for dropping all of this wisdom. And like I said, I'll put all the links in the notes so you guys can connect and make sure you go and follow Neil and his amazing wife and, keep up with what they're doing. So thank you so much, Neil. And you guys, thank you so much for listening and tuning in today. And I want to leave you with one last thought that I love you and I believe in you. And that may sound super crazy because I may not know you, but people literally hate people for absolutely no reason, that I will always choose to love you for no reason until we meet. And I find the millions of reasons there are to love you. So you guys have an incredible week and you guys keep being genuine.